Right. I don't know. Tell me, Larry. I'm wearing a retro InView T-shirt today. It's our very first InView T-shirt. So I don't know, Larry. I feel like you've been with us for a while, so you might remember that time when we first started. But okay, we are at 11:59, and I'm gonna get started here in just a moment, allow some others to join. Hello, hello, welcome. All right. It is on the top of the hour. So welcome to InView's live demo of creating a client gallery from an IPS session using their ratings, favorites, and their purchases. So the key idea is to create an event which you can choose to do an in-person sales session first, or you could do a client gallery first and vice versa, depending on how you like to do your sale. So again, the key idea is to take those ratings and favorites from either session and move them into the other session. So for example, a client gallery, if you choose to share that first to gather your clients' favorites and their ratings, and then do your IPS, that's an option as well as doing an IPS session and taking those ratings and favorites and putting it into a client gallery for, whether it's proofing or to get additional sales or second sales. Or digital delivery for that matter. So I am going to advise you, if you do have an InView account, to go ahead and open it up, get to your admin area. I'm going to share my screen and you can follow along to that. If you have any questions, post those in the chat. Otherwise, I'll kind of pause throughout and ask those questions, and then we'll follow up with some additional Q&A at the end. Looks here. Yes, I have on my retro t-shirt. The logo itself has not changed, but it's our very first t-shirt, with the cloud and everything. And now we keep it a little bit more simple with just the InView. So we use it from time to time with different things. But yeah, I thought I'd break that out today. It was kind of fun. I was like, oh, our very first t-shirt. It was really excited. Yeah. So, all right. Well, thank you all again for joining us. My name is Michelle Keenan. If you did not know that, I'm part of the InView team, and you'll see me weekly doing the live demos. Just a recap for those that may have not have joined in, we are talking about creating an client gallery from an IPS session. Last week, we created our IPS session using dual view. We kind of went through the ratings and the favorites and gathering up that information and process. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, follow along. Please ask questions. That's what I'm here for. And we'll get started. All right. I'm going to go ahead and share. Make sure that y'all can see my screen okay. And I'll try to check the chat as we go. All right, so here you're looking at the InView Gallery Manager section. So you would go to the galleries and then Gallery Manager, and this will give a list of all of your events that you have created. So last week we created an in-person sales session. And so what I'm going to do is edit that by clicking on the word edit, and it will open up my event dashboard. And so looking here, you see the IPS session. We've already done that. And now it's time to set up the client gallery. So when creating a client gallery, there's two ways, and we'll talk about pre-posting another time, but that is if you were to create an event prior to the event happening. We call that a pre-post, and what that does is allow you to gather email addresses and send out the link to your client prior to the images or the event happening. So once the images are uploaded and you're ready to share that event, they get notification that it's available and ready. But again, today we're talking about creating a client gallery from an IPS session using their ratings, favorites, and purchased items. Okay, so all of your images will be located here. So if you look here, it shows an email address, and those email addresses are tied to a specific person. And all the details from that sales session will be located here under that email address. So it's very, very important that you gather the client's email address and have that available when you do your sales session. Okay, so any access that you want to their ratings, favorites, or purchased items, you would find here under images, underneath the favorites, ratings, and orders, underneath their email address. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go back to the event dashboard and I'm going to choose setup. And when I choose setup, it gives me the option here. Oh, I'm stopping sharing. Hold on. My apologies. Right here, it says select images. You've already run an IPS session, select images to get your client gallery started. So your two options are the client's choices, or you can select all of the images to create your client gallery. So we're going to choose the client's choices, which is only top rated images and their favorites. Okay, by clicking that, it gives you another set of options. So you could choose related images. So maybe if you want to include the maybes, you have that option. Sometimes I like to add those. So I'll select yes and maybes. And you can include images from the client's favorites folder. You can toggle that on or off. Purchased images, yes, we want to include those. And then in the categories, maybe you have specific categories set up and you can copy those into categories if you would like. All right, now the next item title down here, hide all images category. This is kind of important because if you have that off, it's going to show and carry over all the images. Okay, so you can toggle that on or off, and that way it just shows specifically those images. All right, so you can either choose to keep the category empty, or you can keep that on. And then I'm going to hit continue. And once I hit continue, it's going to ask me, okay, so I have all images hidden. And if you see if this is your first time, it's going to ask you and give you information as a pop-up. So take the time to read that and then move on. So if you look here, there is all images, uploaded images, and uncategorized. The uncategorized, you have that option to go ahead and select all of those if you want and move them over into the uploaded. And I'm going to go ahead and settings. I'm going to show you what that looks like if we had that on. So then you can password protect that if you needed to. All right, so now I'm going to select all of my uploaded images and I'm going to hit continue. And then if you have presets created, you can select your preset if you would like. For now, we're going to go ahead and configure those manually, and we'll talk about presets in another live demo. If you want these to be watermarked or not, you can choose your watermark option. And then also what parent collection you would want that to go in if it is a collection on your client access page. All right, moving forward to the next step. I am going to make sure that I don't have any questions in the chat really quick just to confirm. Okay. So moving on, you want to turn on the cart if you're allowing ordering. So you don't want to miss any additional sales with the second sale. And then also you may have a different price list that you attach to the client gallery versus an IPS session. So maybe they've already done their initial sale and they've purchased wall art and products and then also digital files. So you may have a discounted rate for additional sales that you want to attach that price list, or maybe your costs have gone up because they've chosen to view these in a client gallery versus purchase right there on the spot. So your prices might be higher. All right. And then here's where you would choose whether you want this to be automatic fulfillment or manual fulfillment. And that is if you want InView to take care of the fulfillment of those second sales or those print orders, and we can ship it directly to you at the studio or to your client. Or you can manually fulfill and fulfill with any lap of your choice, or you can manually fulfill through H&H or InView directly. All right. So I'm going to hit the next step. You can choose the duration of the event, whether you want this to be part of the review program or a custom review where it relaunches over a set of time after expiring. And then you can hit finish setup. And once you're done with that, that has now has all the parts moving and everything is set up here for your client gallery. You can make some adjustments as far as the message to your client, and then also go in and customize your theme. So in theming, you can adjust your welcome screen. You can change the image or set the focal point of the image. All right, select that image. All right, now that's been adjustment, and now you can change where the buttons go, what branding, what the title would be. And then you can save that. Also, if you notice here, we have the logo in view here, and it also prints out the text on there. So you can hide that here by turning that off. And that way you only see the logo, but you can take that off altogether if you don't want that to be shown. Once you're done, you hit save. And I just want to confirm there's no questions. All right. And then again, once you get back to the theming, the client gallery, you can change and modify the colors of the theme. And if you notice here, there is only images in the upload category. And so I'm going to go back and I want to show you just a trick here in just a moment. But before that, I just want you to check out the themes and colors so you can customize it, you know, what your client sees and how it looks and feels. So you can customize that to your branding, or maybe you have a high school senior girl or a guy or a baby versus maybe a wedding that has specific themed colors that you want to apply. You can do that, and you can set a theme for that preset. So I'm going to go back. You can add music as well to the client gallery welcome screen or to the slideshow, because there is a slideshow in the client gallery. And then also any brand. So maybe you have multiple brands, or maybe it's a school and there's, you know, the theme mascot. Maybe you want to put that on there, that you have that option. And then how it is displayed. So the thumbnail type, the dynamic rows, and then you can set the gutter between the little lines in between the thumbnails. But also you can choose to have the buy button. And so this is sometimes nice for grandparents, you know, it just makes it clear and simple for them. but I love the cleanness of the dynamic rows. And then setting your resolution. You probably want to keep it on the HD images for resolution. So if they're watching it on a TV or a desktop, it comes through nice and clear. All right, and you can choose the file names or choose a category to come first. And I'm going to hit save and then go back. And I want to go through and choose room view to be on, because you want those clients to have access to room view so that they can either upload their own room, or if you get it ahead of time and you have it for the IPS session and it's connected to the client gallery, that would be great. And remember, it's tied to an email address when you're utilizing the Room View Direct. So you want to make sure that those are connected in that way. Otherwise, your client has that option. When you have Room View enabled, they can simply go in and upload their own room straight from the client gallery by doing this. And there's these easy steps here. 2 options. This one we recommend because it's probably the easiest. Okay, so that is Room View, and want to make sure that that's enabled. All right, and then also digital downloads. So if you offer digital downloads, this is where you would set up those features here and authorize those to your liking. All right. And then links and videos. So if you have any links like videos or slideshows that you want to add, you have that option, or maybe a link to some specials that you have going on throughout the year. You can add those in there so they have access to see those, any marketing. And you can also turn on your polling for the client. So remember I talked about possibly doing the client gallery before an IPS session and vice versa. These favorites folders are really nice. It helps your client to stay organized, but also you. So you can add those folders prior. So maybe you're sending this to them they've already purchased the album, but they didn't want to sit there and go through all of those images that they've chosen for their album during that IPS sales session. You can choose a favorites folder and create that for them. And you can put a image limit on there if you'd like. So this also gives you the option to, see that on the back end. So I'm going to put 50 there, save, and it's now going to be available where they can see that when they go in to choose their favorites or their ratings. So you can turn that on, select what ratings you would like. Oh, so see here, changing your rating system erases all your customers' previously rated images from their IPS session and their client gallery. Click to save, continue to go back. I'm so glad that you saw this because we do have a reset button. I'm going to show you that in a minute. If your client does go in and they're only picking out their favorites for their album and they change things up and mess with it, but then they forgot what was originally chosen as their favorites, you can go back and reset that from the IPS session. All right, so I am going to change this back to our yes, no, maybe, since that's the polling option we did originally. So now you can hit save. I have my album set. All right, so now that I have that all set up and ready to go, they're looking at just their favorites and their maybes in this specific category. And now you're ready to share that. But before I share that, is there any questions in regards to creating the client gallery from the IPS session using their favorites and ratings? If not, I want to move on to show you. I'm going to go back to the images really quick. Now, actually, I'm going to go here. And I'm going to go to the categories for a client gallery. So if you look here, there's nothing in the all images. So I'm going to take those and I am going to add all from the uploaded because I want to be able to see all of them, and I'm going to add them to the all images. Would you like to move or copy these images? I'm going to move them, and I'm going to remove the upload category. Okay, so now they're going to be in all images right here. Okay, and you can create an additional category if you'd like and give it a password. So let's see what that does. That changes just a little bit. So I'm going to hit edit, and when I hit view photos, it's going to show you where those are now located. And if I have it hidden, it's not going to show any, but I didn't have it hidden. So here we go. All right, so now on to sharing. Once you have that all set up just how you like it, everything's good to go, you can simply go up here to unpublished, and you want to publish your client gallery. And now it's time to share it. So there's a couple different ways you can share it, via social media, or you can copy the email, or you can text it. You can simply copy this link and paste it into your own email, or you can send and schedule an email. So you can add email addresses here by adding the email addresses. You can import them, or you can customize the email. And we'll talk about this in another live demo, but you have that option to create custom email templates. So maybe you have one that has specific instructions for the different details in that gallery. So maybe it's for a wedding versus seniors versus, the initial, IPS session or client gallery or vice versa. Okay. All right, and you would just customize that by any of the text down here, the headline. There's some other additional settings here. You can include the pin for the digital downloads on here. And then you can hit save. And once you hit save, go back to sharing. And once you're ready to share, you would just add the email address here. Hit save. And now you would select that and send now, or you can schedule to send it, or you can resend. So I'm going to send now. And now that's sent. It says it's queued to be sent. Also, any emails that come through that you want to download, you can do that right here. But now I'm going to go ahead and go back, and I'm just going to copy this, and I'm going to paste it into the browser. But looks like I have a question here. Yes, the very first step. Okay, I will go back to that. I'll circle back here in just a moment. I'm going to show you what that client gallery looks like here. One moment. And I'm going to paste the link in here so you can see the client's view. Let me make sure that I am sharing that. Sure, I'm still sharing. Okay, and then you can log in with that client's email address, and they will see all of their favorites and rated images and purchases, and now they can start rating and favoriting. So let's just say they click on a favorite, and if you remember, here's the album. So now they can plug those into their album. And I'm going to multi-select several here as a client and put those in my favorites in the album, because I'm going to show you on the back end that you can now see those. Okay. All right. So that is simply what it looks like from a client's view. They can go in, choose, products. They can go in and choose from their favorites if they've rated any. and design their room view wall collection. I'm just making things up here. And they can view it in a room all by themselves. They can see what it looks like with a frame, apply it. They can change rooms. They can share it. They can save it for later, go make dinner, come back. So there's lots of those, in-person sales features and tools without the person. So if your initial sale is an IPS session and you're giving them the option to do a second sale or choose their favorites or sending the grandparents to place orders, or maybe it's a destination wedding and they're viewing for the first time through a client gallery, you have that option to have that same look and feel throughout the duration, keeping them in the same ecosystem. All right. Okay, so I am going to answer a few questions here. And it looks like, Cindy, you are wanting to see the very first step. Does anybody have any questions before I circle back around and answer her question? If not, I'm going to do that. Okay. All right. So I am going to go back here to my other browser window. Make sure I'm still sharing the same screen. All right. Okay. Within the event dashboard, basically, Cindy, and it's going to be a little bit hard to show that part. Give me just a second. I'm going to see if I have an IPS session that I can create. Let's try, let's just see here. Give me just a moment. It'll just take a second here. I'm going to create an IPS really quick. Let's see, just a few images here. All right. So we will do a quick IPS session. I'm going to show you really quick how that looks from the very beginning. I'm going to begin. So I'm just going to rate a few just so you can see what it looks like here. Sorry for the fast moving. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to go back to the admin and the event dashboard. So the very beginning is you've already done your IPS session. And when you go to setup, here is where you have that option to select your client's choices. All right, right here. And you can give it a new, let's just Cindy's faves. And then you can select the, maybe you want to include the nose, but yes. All right, and then hit continue. And if you don't have presets set up, you can skip that. Otherwise, you can just go to the rest of the setup as far as choosing all of your settings for the client gallery. And once that is done, now your client will see their ratings and favorites, and you can make any adjustments and customizations. Does that help? Was that what you were missing, Cindy? I just want to make sure I answered your question or was able to show you. We will replay this also. The link will be in our private Facebook group, Your InView Space. So if you're not part of that group, please join. It looks like the names I'm seeing here are in that group, but if you are not, please ask to join and we'll make sure that we get you in there and you have access to review those. Perfect. All right, I am going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to turn on my camera here just for a moment so I can tell you guys bye. See if that works. There we go. There you are. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that was very helpful. InView has so many features to help you grow your business and to help save you time. And so that's why we're trying to take it piece by piece every Wednesday. So if you have any suggestions or things that you feel need to be talked about and you'd like to see, and maybe others would too, please feel free to reach out and let us know what those are. So we'll try to, jump in and get those on the schedule. Your InView space on Facebook is a great way to, to communicate that, or you can reach out to me directly at mkeenan@n-bu.com with that information. And so we'll try to keep you up to date. Next week, we're taking a pause. We have a boot camp, a wedding boot camp here in Kansas City that both InView and H&H are hosting. So we will be busy during that time next week. So we will continue the following week for our live demo, but we'll make sure that we post some other education in its replace. So again, thank you so much. I just want to double check here on the chat, make sure I didn't miss anything. You guys have a wonderful afternoon and we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye, guys.